Hi and welcome. I'm so glad you joined us. This is bonus content, a bonus conversation with Brighton. We filmed her episode in Chandler, Arizona with her practitioner, Hila Kedem-Ferguson. It was amazing. The episode is called I Am Love. And today we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about her session and find out what Brighton's doing and how things are going. Brighton, thank you for being here with me and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm more than happy to be here.
I love the session because we want this feeling of love and connection. And your theme was, hey, I've been through some things. I want to feel some love. I want to feel some positive things in life. And as I got to know who you are and learn about you, I was like, wait, what? You're like, yeah, I lost my brother. He passed away, and I had a best friend, and then I lost her, and she passed away, and then I was in a marriage, and my husband and I got divorced, and I was like, whoa. So yeah, I've known Gila for a while, so kind of wanted to do a session to get some answers, and I was like, whoa. So me as somebody who's here to share your story, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so. I could just feel the space that you were in. I've had the loss of a loved one. My son passed away in 2021 of a drug overdose, and I had to go through a journey. And so, that's such a big thing. So, number one, thank you for being willing to share your story because so many people have lost loved ones, and it's like, what happens? What are they somewhere on the other side? And well, you came looking for answers, and whew, boy, did you find some answers.
That's right. And it was just such a blessing. And I'm still, kind of digesting chunks of that session and really still feeling the love and in ways that even then I never, in the euphoria of love then, I never thought I would be feeling it the way that I am still feeling it now and just being it really. So
Yeah, awesome. Well, Gila has this wonderful methodology. Dr. Michael Newton founded the Life Between Lives hypnotherapy. And so she's going backward, kind of taking a stair-step backward approach. And she gets to an age in your life where she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And you're a kid and you're playing in Morgan's backyard and you're experiencing just the joy. You're climbing a tree and it's super fun and it's really great because we can climb it. And when we're done, we can just jump down and do something different. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of like a metaphor, which later comes up in your session. Give me some ideas of what that space was, the things you were experiencing, and who Morgan is in your life.
the space that it was in is still a space that I feel very connected to. It's still a cul-de-sac that I see every week. Like the front yard looks totally different, but it's still exactly the way that I saw it in that session and in my mind. And what really stuck with me from that is just trying to carry the essence of like childhood joy. Who says you can't climb a tree as an adult? Like maybe your bones will have something to say about it later, but that's later's problem.
Yeah, it was like you had this sense of freedom and this childlike
Mhm.
joy. And that's why I thought that was so wonderful. And, later in your session, you kind of come back to that theme of just, being afraid, even like in a career sense, being afraid to do something where like, oh, just jump. It's no big deal. And that metaphor later comes back around. I thought that was such an interesting starting point. And then from there, she says, okay, go back to, another significant time and you have this incredible experience living a life as a 4-year-old boy named Ashan somewhere in the jungle, and your sister Nima is carrying you across the river, and your people are moving. And I'm like, what is going on? There's this incredible story that you see unfolding, and you're living this. Give me a little presence of what was going on there. Explain that.
I was kind of in the same frame of mind as you of like what's going on. You have all these images and sensations and feelings and knowing is really that's what it is. It's just a deep sense of knowing, and the guide Gila knows how to ask the right questions to help you piece these things together. And it was when I look back on it, kind of just a moment of transition in the life where things were unsure. Your future is unsure, your past is something that you're holding on to, and you want it to be the way that it was, even though it's changed. You know, our village became sick and there was a lot of loss, and that was a grief of its own and a loss of its own. But having the strength of the ties of someone who loves you and will care about you, you know, in that lifetime was my older sister, kind of embodying that role for me in the moment of what I saw was just very powerful. And that, you know, in every life, there's going to be transition and those periods of looking back on this thing of what it was and what you wish that it could still be and not knowing where you're going to, but being okay in that moment, even if you're like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that was powerful. There was loss, there was death, there was sickness in this village, and I was like, oh wow, 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 where's this going? And then as it matriculates through, you now become an elder in that village, and Hila moves it fast forward in time to the scene just before you die, and you're surrounded with people that love you. You recognize the love of a partner because you said love is the most powerful thing in the universe and it heals. And so your love theme was already coming up in this session. And you were this elder person, but you were still feeling that energy. Give some presence to that.
even at the ripe old age of 29 now, it's like you can look around and see the ripples of, you know, the things that you've done through love or the good things that like your love has led you to and the people that it has changed. And I can only hope that everyone gets to experience that feeling in their lifetime of looking at the end of it and being surrounded at the end of it with all of the love that you have given out into the world, then being given back to you in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting with this work, this hypnotherapy space where you're seeing a scene, you're living this life, and you're not only living it, but you're observing it too. And it's such a powerful work of the subconscious. It never ceases to amaze me where this space is, where they come from and where they go and the things that are meant. From that, I remember you leave your body and you go up and you go, yeah, I'm just kind of looking down at the body and I'm, seeing that energy of love and the family and the loved ones. And then whew, you're floating out in outer space. And I think it wasn't long after that. I think you were surrounded by loved ones and then I think you meet your brother Rick. Is that accurate?
That's probably how it goes in every lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah, so your brother now in this lifetime has already passed, but in this experience, you're now having an interaction with him. There was a lot that happened in that time. Again, this is a long session. I'm trying to find the points that, are so beautiful and, kind of a common lesson. But wow, there were so many personal things that you got to experience there. Do you want to share some of the things that you went through?
I think kind of to your point, with the question before of like when you're in the session and you are experiencing it, but also observing it and processing it through kind of your current brain and the observer brain is that will also help give the client or whoever is hypnotized the ability and the muscle memory to do that with their own current life and current situations of kind of detaching and looking at it from an observer point of view. And I think that's also kind of what these portals that Rick was opening and showing me of like, look, here's like the observer point of view of this other space and time that we, based on the energy that we're going to put into it, can alter in minuscule ways, kind of the causation of what's going to occur. And that's the same thing. When you reach forth within yourself and give an energy out, you can help alter the causation of what's going to occur. And so I think it's all just mirrors and reflections of the different levels of the same thing over and over again, and how just embodying it in different ways. And to share that space with him in such a vivid way, doing a thing that is, totally a thing that he would do of like, here, let me just rip open the portals of reality and show you how you can dip your finger in and make the wind blow or something like that. It's
Yeah.
totally Rick.
after the sensation of being with Rick, now you suddenly become emotional and you're like, oh, suddenly I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. And Gila seems to think, oh, okay, this is maybe the conscious mind starting to get into here and just like, I don't know what to do. And then you have this powerful experience where the you that's been through it is now coming to you and gives you a notebook. And then you come in and you go, I'm always looking for this grand, wise advisor to give me the messages from on high and bring it down. But I realized the wisdom was the me that's gone through it was there to help me. And she gives me a notebook. And I'm thinking, okay, well, what's in the notebook? And you go, it's love letters from all the different people, from all the different lives that I've been with. And oh my God. And I'm like, brr. Tell me about that whole thing.
How do you even begin? Again, that moment of overwhelming everything you've given out coming back to you and just kind of magnified. And I think about that notebook all the time. And, whenever I feel like I need that little boost of love, I just kind of think about that gift and that version of me who's been through it. And, to be quite honest, when you had reached out about the follow-up session, there was a part of me that was like, I'm not better. I shouldn't go on camera and say, "Oh yeah, I'm so happy now and everything is so magic and fine and I have all the answers," because I don't. I'm just as like what in the as I was a year ago, when the session happened, and that's that's that phase, the transition phase. You feel the euphoria and you feel the love and you feel like you have the answers, and then life happens and you have to move and change, and that is also like I'm narrowing in on how to be in love with that part
Yeah.
of it, of not to be like in love with the pain or to wallow in the pain, but to recognize that it is also a phase and something to be grateful for
Yeah.
because it's not always going to feel that way.
Yeah.
And what a marvelous, balance to the scale to have both of those things.
Yeah, thank you for giving presence to that because that's such a valid point. So many people think that I'm going to have a session and I'm going to be magically, everything's going to be perfect. I'm going to be super in the relationship or the finances or the career, blah, 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 blah. And it's just part of the journey. These experiences are there to inform us. And if there's
Mm,
one thing we've learned is it's called the human journey for a reason,
yeah.
not the human destination. And then I just wanted to let everybody know I don't have any problems. Everything's perfect in my life. And you'd be the most boring person in the world to talk to. That'd be like, oh, we don't want to talk to you.
Because it's not relatable.
Yeah, no, that's so good. Even the sessions that we have, I think they do move us forward in consciousness. And, it helps you explore and expand and experience different aspects of yourself. But yeah, that is really good. That's a really valid point. But the feeling of love that you got from there, that's something that you can take with you. Maybe it's not all
Mm.
in the perfect space that you'd like to, but it was the feeling, the resonance. Tell me about that feel and that resonance when you're like, wow, I'm being loved. I'm loved from my family. I'm loved from my friends. And then, wait, I am love. Tell me about that.
It seeps into everything I do, Dave. It's like I I if I'm not if I'm feeling a little love needy and I can't, find it from this outside source or the world, I just kind of take a moment and ground and look around and take a moment to center on that I am everything that I need and I have it already is so much easier to then let it permeate out through myself and back into the world. It's just overwhelming, glorious. There's not enough, good synonyms for the positivity that comes from it. And I think, the most powerful thing that has continued to grow since the session is that that's not diminished by anything, even if it's, someone who has passed away or who has chosen to leave the life and I am left with all of this love, well, then good, because this is so much more love for me to have and then to give out into the world. And yes, that it's never taken away. It's only made stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the part where you're being surrounded by family members and they're just giving you love and they're telling you how much they appreciate you. And then they're gonna like, okay, well, we're gonna leave. And you're like, oh, well, should we say goodbye? And they're like, that's such a human earth thing. We're always around you. Just get over it. We'll see you again. Just go do what you got to do. Go play your human character. And it was almost kind of like, yeah, it's no big deal. It's like, it's no big deal.
It's no big deal. That's another big thing that stuck is like it's no big deal. Childful playfulness, like if I want to do something goofy and silly, then there's no rule. I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna feel good.
Yeah, I love that. And then you're like, oh, Hila says, oh, hey, is Josephine around in that area? If your family, and you're like, oh yeah, yeah, she's over there, just super casually nonchalant. She's kind of busy right now.
She's busy.
And Hila's like, okay, this was a big deal. Remember, you wanted closure with. You're like, oh yeah, she's cool. I know where to find her. Yeah, she's doing some stuff. Give me some context around that.
Just another demonstration of like you think you need these things and yet it's always kind of just there with you. This person is always there with you. If you want to talk to them, if you want to, feel their energy, they're just always there.
Yeah.
And that can't be diminished either. The
Yeah.
love that you shared there is that connector. It's always there.
That's so good. And you have this experience with your former partner, Sam, where you're like, oh, yeah, I see how we were accidentally hurting each other back and forth. And just because we're no longer in partnership doesn't mean we still can't give gratitude for the things that we learned, the space we were in. Wow, that really impacted me because so many people think that, if their relationship ends, or as some people like to say, if they've completed their relationship, there's a negative stigma, like, well, you didn't do it right, or you failed, or something wasn't right. Well, maybe there was a space and time that was intended for, and maybe that's all that there was for that space and time. Give some presence to how you felt in that experience.
You really said it best. It's just that there's again that deep knowing that this was the space and time that it was meant to inhabit. You can't change what has already happened. And so, to again take those lessons with you forward. And again, with that, like that love that is there, that feels like it was there, that no longer has, like that connector to give out. It doesn't stop me from doing so. I still feel that love for this person that I did want to spend my life with, and I wish nothing but like the best healing and growth for him as well in this life. I could only hope that his journey is as beautiful as mine has been, and that he feels the things that I feel because that was what it was, and it would never have been anything different or with the forcefulness of it. So just to look back with gratitude and grace on these experiences that have shaped you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to continue to look at them like that moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so powerful. Okay, so I want you to do me a favor, and I want you just to close your eyes just for a second. And when I say I ally, how does that make you feel or impact you?
It's hard to put it into words. It's like being seen. It's a gift, really.
You had that connection with this higher aspect of yourself, this aspect of your spiritual being, and however we in our human sounds and languaging, however that came out, you voiced it as I, and I was just like, wow. The feel inside the room, and again, it was just you and Hila and myself with a bunch of cameras shooting you. It was just you guys, and I'm the observer. I'm telling you, it was so powerful inside the room. I could feel this gravity, this weight, this heaviness, but it was a density, not like smothering. It was like this gravitas, this dense power. Oh my God. And you go, I, that's my true essence. And I was like, whoo, what a powerful feeling to have that connection to that part of the oneness of the all.
I lie. Thank you for being a part of it and to hold space and to really be the spark that sets everything off.
Mm. Well, that's very kind. And I mean, together we can change the world. That's what I love to tell people. So I love that. A couple last things I had written down here. You have this experience of saying, well, I need to have some boundaries. And then later you go, yeah, but your love for yourself has to be equal to your love for another. Otherwise, the boundaries won't work. And I was like, whoa. I mean, already we've had truth bomb, truth bomb, truth bomb. I'm like, oh, just let us rest, Brighton. Give us a break. And then boom, you hit us with another truth bomb. That was so great because so many people like, gotta have boundaries, gotta have boundaries. And you're like, yeah, but your love for yourself has to be equal or greater than this other, or the boundaries don't work. Oh my goodness. Can you give some presence to that?
Oh, wow, how this one has come right back up for my life very powerfully recently, and I'm
Mm.
able to see it through a different perspective of you deserve everything and only goodness and only love, truly. And there is no right or no reason for anyone to hurt you or to do anything that results in hurt towards you. You know, there's so much to be said for the relationships that want to work with you. For the relationships that don't want to work with you is really when this boundary rule is hard to look at and
Yeah.
sometimes hard to implement, and nobody's perfect. So just keep giving yourself the grace and keep loving. And that's really what it is, to give yourself the grace to love yourself for what you deserve. And only you can know that, you know, what feels right for you and what feels good for you. So yeah, with more blessings and patience and grace, that will become a little easier through the next year even. And I'll be able to look back on this conversation and be like, wow, at the beginning of that, I was just starting out with this, and now have come so far, and making these boundaries is a bit easier.
Yeah.
So I always like to make those little goals too.
Yeah. Yeah. You had such a powerful experience. I can't say enough, how much gratitude I had that you were willing to share this and just be vulnerable in that space. And, we really wanted to make sure that we put out something that helped people, and the authenticity and the reality of what you experienced, but just it was so precious, and I really appreciated it. You're a wise soul. You've probably been here many times, and you probably have a lot of life experience, and I think that if you've been in a position where you've had so much struggle or loss, or death of family members and all that, you're probably someone that soul was big enough to be able to handle this, and there's some soul aspect there. So I don't think you're someone that's easily knocked around. I know it's been an impact in your life, but I think that you're someone here that has a powerful work to do. And however these things that we go through, however they happen and why they happen, I don't have that answer, but I do know that you're someone who's been able to take what you've experienced and help other people with it. So thank you for sharing that journey.
Thank you. It's all I can do if I'm, you know, gonna be here and have to do it anyway. Might as well do a little bit of goodness and stop and smell the flowers on the way. And
Yeah. So give me a little update. What do you want to share with people? Are you still doing, you shared that you were doing Renaissance Fair. Are you still doing things like that? Or, what do you want to make public for folks to know about yourself?
I am most definitely still doing the Renaissance Festival, and that is beginning in about a month. So
Yeah.
my life is about to get crazy, but it's the best kind of fun and crazy for me. I love it. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
Um, being out there away from the real world where the real world problems don't mean anything and you're just focused on the smiles and pure enjoyment of literally everybody around you. So that's glorious. And then keeping up with the acting, improv classes, and I have done a few auditions, and I'll tell you what, a good tactic that works for me when I start to feel a little bit, oh, I don't know if I want to, whatever that voice is like, what if you just put your shoes on? What if you just get ready? What if you just go outside? What if you just get in the car? What if you just show up? Like, make no promises as to like fully showing up and going inside and whatever the case may be. And this works for anything, by the way, not just auditions. Like, just what if I do this next thing? Bite-sized pieces. And the unsureness of like, oh my gosh, this process where you're literally being judged and everyone around you is like a competitor, but instead was able to look at it with the lens of it's a new experience, something I've never done before. These are all new people who also love to do a thing that I love to do, and we're all here to make a story. And that's what's driving all of us is that we want to make a thing together. And how beautiful is that? And they were the most fun experiences that I think I've had. I didn't get any other parts, but still those experiences were totally great.
Yeah.
Which leaves you the room to, do other things and try out for other things. And a firm believer in what's meant for you will come to you. So I was in a show and did, the leading role in a play from my acting studio and felt the love and support of all my friends and saw my face on a little poster board, and it was quite glorious.
You had this powerful experience. You shared, Hila was your facilitator with A Life Between Lives. What would you say to someone who's like, hey, is this something I should do? What would you say to that person?
I would say if you're thinking about doing it, then you're ready.
Yeah, that's that's a really good advice. Uh, I love the idea that a spiritual journey begins with I wonder what my purpose is. I wonder why I'm here. That's the beginning of a spiritual journey. Yeah,
And the beautiful part is that I wonder what my purpose is can continue with you.
yeah, I love that. What is one thing you want to make sure people know before we close out today?
They're worth it and they deserve to be treated well and to be treated with love from themselves and from everyone, that they choose to have in their lives. And there is no situation that you have to keep yourself in. If you want happiness, go out and start looking for it, even if you have literally no idea what that first step is. The first step is thinking about it, I guess, and going for it.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Well, powerful words, powerful advice. Oh, Brighton, thank you so much for sharing with me today. Thank you for so much for sharing with all of us the not only the insights that you've gleaned from your session, but how you're doing going forward. Thank you so much, and you, my friend, I say namaste.